that I will faithfully and diligently discharge my duties and perform my functions in the high office. So help us God.
Businesses have historically operated in pursuit of a single goal: maximizing profit. Yet, over the past several decades, that's changed. Many business leaders have come to recognize they have a responsibility to do what's best, not just for their companies, but for people, the planet, and society. This idea is known as corporate social responsibility, or CSR, and it's led to the emergence of companies that carry socially responsible designations, such as B corporations, social purpose corporations, and low-profit limited liability companies. What corporate social responsibility means varies depending on an organization's goals. At its core, it's a form of self-regulation expressed in initiatives and strategies. Firms are often guided by a concept called the triple bottom line. It dictates that rather than focusing solely on financial performance, businesses should measure their impact on the 3 Ps: profit, people, and the planet. Corporate social responsibility is traditionally broken into 4 categories: environmental, philanthropic, ethical, and economic. Environmental responsibility is the belief that organizations should behave as environmentally friendly as possible. Ethical responsibility is concerned with ensuring companies operate fairly. Philanthropic responsibility refers to businesses' aims to make the world better and improve society. Economic responsibility is the practice of firms rooting financial decisions in a commitment to do good. No matter the type, organizations that embrace corporate social responsibility can reap several benefits. For example, CSR can be a powerful marketing tool that enables companies to position themselves favorably in the eyes of consumers, investors, and regulators. CSR efforts can also improve employee engagement and satisfaction, key measures that drive retention. What's more, it can help attract job candidates with personal convictions that match those of the organizations they apply to. Pursuing CSR also prompts business leaders to examine how they hire and manage, source products and resources, and deliver value to customers. Such reflection can lead to more socially responsible actions, which in turn enables their firms to address the world's most pressing problems while succeeding financially.
Greetings, you're watching Beyond the Ballot on Love Well Set. My name is Jackie Shabango. This is a program aimed at providing you with updates and analysis on issues buzzing in the corridors of politics and governments. And today we are bringing to you a special coverage, and this time is the Chinese-funded Enterprises Summit taking place in Johannesburg, South Africa. This is where, different sectors of society and governments are gathered to, unveil a report on the impact of Chinese companies here in South Africa from a perspective of CSI. So stay tuned as we bring you the live coverage of this special program.
Agriculture, communication service, culture, media, and real estate. As Chinese-founded enterprises in South Africa, we embrace the principle of responsibility, contribution, and sharing. Today, we are honored to present our achievement over the past few years, particularly in the areas of promoting employment, supporting public welfare, and fostering sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to share with you the key highlight of our report, which outlines the significant contribution of Chinese-funded enterprises in South Africa and their ongoing commitment to corporate social responsibility. The report, which in our table you can see, the report is divided into 7 sections. In Section 1, we detail the remarkable result that Chinese-funded enterprises have achieved in fulfilling corporate social responsibility in South Africa. These efforts reflect our dedication to not only growing our business, but also positively impacting the community in which we operate. In Section 2, we reflect the evolution of Chinese investment in South Africa since the formal establishment of diplomatic relations between China and South Africa in 1998. The partnership have grown steadily, fostering stronger economic ties and mutual understanding. In Section 3, we explore the significant investment made by Chinese-founded enterprises around many sectors. These investments have not only contributed to enriching South Africa's industry landscape, but also play a crucial role in the transformation and the modernization of the country's economy. In Section 4, we highlight how Chinese-founded enterprises have shown deep respect for South Africa's social diversity. With a focus on mutual respect, equality, and peaceful coexistence, our enterprises actively engage in culture and economic exchanges, building integration and enhancing the understanding between our people. In Section 5, we demonstrate our commitment to environmental sustainability. Chinese-founded enterprises have embedded green practices into their operation strategies, focusing on environmental management, energy conservation, and green production. In Section 6, we emphasize that our investment in South Africa go beyond business growth. Through various corporate social responsibility initiatives, they contribute to local communities, share the benefits of their success, and helping to overcome challenges, thus establishing themselves as responsible corporate citizens. In Section 7, we confirm our commitment to fulfilling corporate social responsibility as the relationship between China and South Africa continue to grow. As our bilateral economic and trade cooperation reaches new milestones, Chinese-founded enterprises will remain working closely with the South Africa government and its peoples, and playing an active role in driving the nation's economic progress.
When society thrives, business thrives. When communities become stronger, we're building a more resilient, prosperous society for everyone. Today, we acknowledge the progress we've made to achieve this and the lives we touched. Our approach is built on 3 pillars: collaborative empowerment. Our initiatives are developed through consultations with community leaders, understanding local needs and co-creating strategies that have a lasting impact where we operate. Economic inclusion. We are committed to creating economic opportunities by supporting local entrepreneurs, providing on-the-job training, and creating opportunities that help families build a sustainable livelihood. And sustainable development. Our community's investments are not short-term focused or interventions, but long-term commitments. We focus on projects that will have generational impacts in these communities, from infrastructure development to environmental sustainability programs. I want to be clear when I say our community upliftment initiatives are a strategic investment in our collective future. Our contributions have focused on education, healthcare, infrastructure, economic empowerment, and we've created job opportunities, provided resources, and inspired positive change. Please allow me to share a few of the following examples where we, as business and government, has impacted the lives in the areas where we operate. On the educational side, at Pumulela High School, where we built 4 classrooms and ablution facilities in the community where we operate, in the Steelpoort area. This is the after-the-fact handover of that high school and classrooms. The Moajana Primary School, where we also renovated classrooms for the young kids to have a conducive environment where they can have proper education. On the educational support and development side, in the Limpopo province, where we assisted with teacher education, development, and also remuneration in that regard. The next project on the healthcare side, medical equipment to 3 clinics in the Mooinooi area, Bapong, Segwalane, and the Wonderkop area. And also the construction of a project which I'm extremely proud of, the Mpadweni Clinic in the Eastern Cape, in a rural area where medical facilities are very scarce and we don't need old people to work far anymore to get attention. On the infrastructure project contribution point of view, we have upgraded and constructed 3 kilometers of road in the Bapong area, which will be handed over shortly. We have focused a lot on water infrastructure on the Majakaneng area, also close to our Mooinooi operations, to ensure that people have sufficient supply of drinking water, potable water for their homes. A bulk water project which has contributed to having water to communities and households also in our Luhala area of operation, closer to Polokwane. Another essential service is also electricity, where we've also contributed and assisted in terms of electrical substation infrastructure in the Mooinooi and Rustenburg area. This was in conjunction with other partners to ensure that they also have proper and stable power supply. This is just a few pictures of some of the projects that was completed in terms of water purification, reverse osmosis to these communities, and supply of that. Also just a few pictures on the northern projects, where we have a wastewater facility done on the northern side to ensure that wastewater is handled responsibly in terms of the environment and also provide recirculated water to the affected community.
It really is, I'm very grateful to be invited here today, where we can celebrate and get excited about what CR activities Chinese enterprises are conducting in the country, where we move beyond simply economic benefit to social impact. So I am here on behalf of the Sino-Africa Cooperation think tank, which is led by our director, Professor Ariel Liu, at the front over here. And myself personally, I'm from the Swane School of Business and Society, and note the word society in our business school's name. I'm a senior lecturer and academic head at the business school. So why am I here? Well, I suppose not just because of my affiliation with the SSE think tank, but I've been researching Chinese enterprises in Africa, not just South Africa, but Africa for many, many years. I've written 2 books on the topic, one just in terms of China's contribution to Africa's Renaissance, and the second one is the lessons and investments that we've been very fortunate to have from China for our own special economic zones in South Africa. And I'm going to be sharing a model with you that we developed around, it's called the organic growth model, and how we can leverage our unique resources, and how China can contribute to the growth through leveraging these resources in a number of ways. Now, I don't have time to go through the model, but you would have seen the baobab tree in that past slide, and the analogy is around that tree. So the roots are our inherent, what we've got today, our status quo, and it's in infrastructure, our economic structure, our political structure, our regulatory environment, our people, our culture. That's our roots, and we've got a lot to be proud of in terms of that. But But the trunk is the interesting aspect. If you think about a tree trunk, what does it do? It conveys energy, nutrients, that makes this tree grow and thrive. And out of that we get results. So these are areas that can be changed, they can be influenced. So you look at infrastructure, so building infrastructure. You look at human resources, well, training, education. These are things that can be influenced to have a positive impact on further generations. And then what is the outcome from these activities, from supporting that trunk? Well, it's around wealth, it's around capital generation, and I'm not talking about monetary, I'm talking about other areas of wealth and capital. It's around the culture, it's around our institutions, our produced capital, our natural capital. And this is where China, and through my research, I believe it very strongly, China has made an impact. Because China comes in on this trunk element and is able to influence and to create benefits for our beautiful country. And I'm going to use the example around the just energy transition, and I'll go into a very brief case study shortly. But you look at that, the just energy transition. Well, China is a global leader when it comes to renewable energy. We've got challenges in South Africa, but China can contribute knowledge, they can contribute financing, the infrastructural development, and provide that skills transfer that's needed so that we can move towards this just energy transition. And it really is critical that we do this. And I put this slide in just to we've obviously got the need for government to support and to facilitate this energy transition towards a more greener future. But we also need to remember Nuluntu, Amakulu, the people on the ground, and how it's going to benefit them. And that's what CSR is about. It's having impact on all stakeholders.
That's when Basong lives in De Aar, a town in the Northern Cape province of South Africa. The 27-year-old works at the De Aar wind power project invested by China's Longyuan Power through its South African subsidiary, Longyuan South Africa Renewables, and its South African partners. The wind power project has been in operation since 2017. In addition to continuously supplying the local community with about 760 million kilowatts of stable and clean electricity every year, Longyuan SA has spared no efforts to help local people. It has launched a scholarship program which to date has funded 112 poor college students with excellent academic performance to finish their studies. Basong is one of beneficiaries.
Without them, I wouldn't be the person I am today or where I am today. Because both my parents are employed, I realized that they would not be able to pay for my studies. So I had to work and I paid for my own studies. But unfortunately, it took long and it was very difficult. So they helped me with basically everything I needed. Accommodation, transportation, tuition. They made my studies extremely easier than it was.
After graduating from university, Basong officially joined Longyuan SA in 2022 and became a member of its operation and maintenance team.
Of course, as Longyuan grows, so will the positive things in the community. So I just hope Longyuan grows bigger so they can help our community more.
Besides, Longyuan SA has also funded the establishment and operation of 4 preschools, 2 old age homes, as well as a groundwater project. Before Longyuan Power came to Da'a, due to limited infrastructure and transportation, the income of local residents used to be quite low. So far, the wind power project has created more than 700 jobs, which has helped improve the living standards of local people. According to Disang Molodel, municipal manager of Amthangini Municipality, which comprises Da'a and 2 other towns, the project can become an example of the cooperation between China and South Africa, as well as that among the BRICS countries.
So China with technology, we believe that we are one of the best in the world. Teach us how best should we do the business. Teach us good business practices and also teach us good industrial processes. Teach us good manufacturing process. China is very good, there's no doubt.
The organization I represent today is the SAC think tank, which stands for the Sino-Africa Cooperation Think Tank. And it was born out of the need to have this nexus between academia, business, and have these conversations like we're having today around the important areas of collaboration between China and Africa.
You spoke about the think tank project. Just give us a succinct overview of that program.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that the think tank does is it provides information for Chinese enterprises that wish to invest in the country. You can imagine you want to invest in a new country with a totally different culture. You don't understand the regulatory environment. So the think tank provides that research, the empirical research that can guide Chinese enterprises in the pitfalls, the opportunities in investing in the country. So that's one of the things that we do. We also cooperate with government departments. We gain information from them that we can share with various stakeholders. So it really is a collaborative effort between multiple stakeholders to inform and hopefully facilitate greater levels of engagement and investment by Chinese companies in South Africa.
And how would you, evaluate or classify the effect or the impact of Chinese companies in South Africa as far from a perspective of CSI?
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you. I think the critical thing is to realize that it's not just about profit. You know, profit's important. One needs to make profit to grow as an organization, but it should go beyond that. It should go beyond that towards shared value creation, and that's what today's been about, is looking at, well, how have Chinese enterprises not just been effective in operations and making money, but how have they contributed to the societies in which they engage. So a number of examples were given, some I gave as well, on how they partnered with local government to provide water services to local communities. There have been examples around how Chinese enterprises have engaged with the health departments to actually provide healthcare services for those with HIV or even AIDS. So those are really important, and I think that's where the contribution really lies, in companies being more aware of what they can do, how they can leverage their resources for societal good.
You spoke about the place of collaboration during your presentation. Just shed some light on how is your organization planning to make that process, for lack of a better word, feasible for all the concerned stakeholders to, just forge synergies amongst themselves in realizing, or rather consolidating further, the effect or the impact, of the Chinese companies through the avenue of CSI?
Yeah, I think this SAC think tank provides an important networking role. So it's bringing those people together and identifying, I think I mentioned it before, but identifying those gaps in terms of the opportunities, but going further and saying, well, where can you contribute towards societal good? So I think that's where it plays an important role and will continue to play an important role in being a network organization, bringing these people together and through that having the impact that it hopes to have.
The South Africa-China Economic and Trade Association, SA-CETA, proudly presents its latest corporate social responsibility report, highlighting the deepening ties and shared progress between the two nations. An old Chinese saying goes, "Distance cannot separate true friends who remain close even when thousands of miles apart." Despite the physical distance, China and South Africa have stood united, fostering a relationship grounded in camaraderie and brotherhood. The golden era of bilateral relations, sparked by the reciprocal visits of President Xi Jinping and President Cyril Ramaphosa, has unlocked new opportunities for collaboration. Since its establishment in Johannesburg in April 2011, SA-CETA has grown into a vital bridge between the two nations. It now represents over 200 member organizations with investments exceeding $13 billion across key sectors, including finance, mining, manufacturing, and communications. SA-CETA remains unwavering in its mission to strengthen economic ties and foster a community with a shared future, underscoring the enduring power of friendship and partnership. What can 26 years bring about? For Chinese enterprises driven by strong convictions, time is the most enduring force. Over 26 years, it not only witnesses the triumphs over challenges, but also fulfills the promise of a brighter, more prosperous future. Chinese-funded enterprises in South Africa have flourished over these years. Beyond their economic contributions, they have become steadfast bridges, strengthening the bonds of friendship between China and South Africa.
Fulfilling social responsibility.
Fulfilling social responsibility.
履行社会责任。
Fulfilling social responsibility.
Fulfilling social responsibility.
Fulfilling social responsibility. A journey we will all take.
Congratulations on today's ceremony and pay high tribute to all Chinese enterprises for actively fulfilling their social responsibility and serving local development. I also want to express my sincere gratitude to friends from all walks of life who care for and support the development of China-South Africa economic and trade cooperation, as well as bilateral relationship. The Corporate Social Responsibility Reports of Chinese-funded enterprises in South Africa, officially launched today, is the second edition, following the first released in 2018. This report highlights the substantial contribution made by Chinese-funded enterprises to boost South African development, improve people's livelihood, protect the environment, and support various sectors. It's a great demonstration of how Chinese enterprises faithfully implement the principle of sincerity, real result, amity, and good faith, and take the right approach to friendship and interests as proposed by our President Xi Jinping. The South Africa-China Economic and Trade Association, SACTA, which complies the reports, is a non-profit entity set up voluntarily by Chinese-funded enterprises in South Africa. I remember shortly after I arrived in South Africa in this June, when I first met with SACTA, I asked colleagues to speed up in releasing today's second report, not to take credit for myself, but they finished the whole thing in less than 5 months. It just shows you what Chinese companies can do and deliver so quickly. This has been done not just for the sake of publicity, but to show that besides doing business, Chinese companies are here to also contribute to South Africa society according to local needs. That is, we must promote, like the forthcoming new investors from China, to aware social responsibility is so important for them as well. Let us applaud for the contribution of Chinese enterprises and the hard working of CETA. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our companies cannot contribute this much to South Africa without the overall strong bilateral economic and trade cooperation between our two nations. South Africa is the first African country to sign the Belt and Road cooperation documents with China, as well as China's most important investment destination on the African continent. The economic and trade structure of our two sides are highly complementary. Our trade and investment cooperation brings strong mutual benefits. Recent years have witnessed an increasing number of Chinese enterprises to invest in South Africa. I do not repeat the figures, but I would like to brief Your Excellency, Deputy President, and ladies and gentlemen. After President Ramaphosa paid state visit in this September, I think just after that, 2 months, those Chinese companies have the intention to invest in South Africa and registered in our Chinese embassy increased sharply. That is a very encouraging signal that in near future more and more Chinese companies may have their own operation in South Africa. I'm very glad to see that. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to emphasize that following their meeting in Johannesburg last year, President Xi Jinping and President Ramaphosa had a great meeting once again in Beijing this year, which saw China-South Africa relationship elevated to an all-around strategic cooperation partnership in the new era, and our practical cooperation enjoying very strong momentum. I'm confident that Chinese companies in South Africa will seize this opportunity to expand cooperation in critical areas such as infrastructure, new energy, and mineral processing. We all remember last year in Johannesburg, President Xi Jinping announced Support Africa Industrialization Initiative. We Chinese companies must follow up and implement this initiative.
This event embodies the strong and enduring partnership between our two countries. The Republic of South Africa and the People's Republic of China share a strong and long-lasting relationship. Throughout the years, the bonds between our two nations have deepened revealing the potential of collaboration with a mutual goal of promoting inclusive and equitable growth. This was evident when our bilateral relations were elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2010, marking a golden era of cooperation. In November 2023, I conducted a bilateral visit to the Republic of China. The visit aimed to explore a variety of opportunities to strengthen areas of cooperation and fortify our enduring economic, trade, and interpersonal connections. My visit included co-chairing the 8th BNC, which focused on practical collaboration on international relations, economic cooperation, minerals, energy, education, science and technology, and the oceans economy. One of the outcomes of that 8th BNC was to review the current framework of the sectorial committees to include more departments. We have also identified critical areas of cooperation for the next 2 years. As Chinese-funded enterprises in South Africa, we encourage you to increase your investments in important sectors of our economy, particularly the automotive industry and infrastructure development. Moreover, the 8th BNC underscored the urgent need to address the structure of the bilateral trade relations and promoted broad market access for more value-added South African goods in China. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also point out that in September this year, President Cyril Ramaphosa made his second state visit to China, during which he upgraded relations to an all-round cooperative strategic partnership for the new era. It is commendable that during the second state visit, the two heads of state reached several important common understanding, amongst others, including that China firmly supports national unity and the path of economic social development that South Africa has chosen. Second, the two countries have agreed to enhance cooperation and synergy between the Belt and Road Initiative, the economy.
The Chinese funded enterprises in South Africa, what is that organization and what are the overarching objectives?
So as from the government-owned companies from China, the object for today and actually for long term, I would say the target is to help South Africa to grow into, no matter from society side and economic side and the employment rate, to all the different aspects, but to push the economic basic foundation, basic requirement is to push the economic growth and achieve a better life for all South Africa peoples here. Yeah.
And how would you describe the impact of your organization since its establishment till today here in South Africa?
So I'm Fred from Honor, and we are very young companies in South Africa, just 3 years ago. And after we started the business in South Africa, we have tremendous growth in these countries. But and meanwhile, we are not only here to do the business, just as Vice President mentioned, we also want to feedback to the societies. So as Chinese-owned companies, this year, from last year, Honor have done a lot of CSR investment into the countries. We participate the year's program initiated by the company by the government, and we have more than 20 graduates from university to join the to learn the skills to go to the commercial industries. And meanwhile, we launched a program called Code with Honors. That's how we donate a lot of smart device, including laptop, handset, and all this kind of stuff to the rural areas. For the rural areas, also for the students from rural area like Little Flowers from KZN, also some place from Limpopo, to help the students to get the skills to learn about coding and help them to get the access to get into the digital world. And meanwhile, we have another program called Honor Talent, which we cooperate with universities and institutions for the students who study in art and join into the competition globally, and it's like a platform for them to show their talent to all the peoples globally and help them to learn new skills and get some kind of show the talent to everyone. Yes.
And skills transfer was one of the critical components which the Vice President spoke about here today, that he commends that we should be very deliberate in our efforts towards importing skills for purposes of skills transfer where shortage of skills are deemed in the country. What is the plan of your organization in that regard?
So, Honor, here we start with 20 to 30 people, but now, end of the year, we can have more than 300 people. So it's 300 staff work for our companies. So from the company side, we have different programs for the employees to learn different skills, no matter what kind of skills they want to learn. For example, technologies, electronic, and etc. etc. Honor will sponsor them, will help them to go to the universities, go to the institutions to get more skills. And meanwhile, for all these 300 employees, actually some of them, they have no experience in the industry before. But what we do is, when we get them, we have a complete training program and teach them about how to do their work, no matter from procurement, from finance, from HR side, and also from sales side. So we are not. This is like two examples for Honor as a state-owned company from China to transfer the skills to everyone.
The Cooperative Social Responsibility Report exemplified these ethos, inspiring a prosperous, equitable, and sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, as the global landscape continues to evolve rapidly, it is essential for nations to cultivate strong partnerships to thrive and navigate the challenges of the modern world. We should leverage our expertise to navigate towards a more sustainable path, guided by principles of joint pursuit and shared future. Our countries have complementary strengths and resources, making us ideal economic partners. China, as one of the world's greatest economies, provides an enormous market for South African goods and services. In return, South Africa provides rich resources such as minerals, agricultural products, and skilled labor to support China's rising economy. Improving trade connections between South Africa and China benefits both countries directly and has a positive ripple effects throughout the region. Increased trade creates jobs, stimulates economic growth, and improves living standards for the people of both countries. However, our trade structure is imbalanced. Last year, the value of China's imports far exceeded its exports. Total bilateral trade increased from 614 billion rand in 2022 to 692 billion rand in 2023, whilst China's 146 billion deficit remains the highest amongst any of the country's trading partners. We intend to work with China in addressing the trade deficit and structure of bilateral trade by broadening its export basket, especially exports of more value-added products. Program Director, South Africa mostly exports minerals and agricultural products to China, while importing mostly manufactured goods from China. At a time when African economies are becoming more integrated, China's technological prowess may help Africa industrialize and export more than just raw materials. Instead of exporting raw agricultural items, South Africa may export processed foods that are more valuable. We further agreed that we must meet China's specific market access requirements, such as full compliance with the general administration of China's regulations and standards. However, China can assist by streamlining import procedures and lowering regulatory hurdles. China may become a larger market for our products, benefiting both South African products and Chinese customers. As Chinese-funded enterprises operating in South Africa, you must seize the opportunity in emerging fields such as artificial intelligence, the digital economy, and green energy.
So for me, my experience has been great. Learned a lot, but also very important, Honour's big on impacts. And I have had the opportunity to go into a lot of areas, township and rural areas, to take CSI initiatives. One of them that we are very proud of is the Code with Honour program. Code with Honour, we're going to townships and rural areas to teach young people how to code, teach them the digital skills. Some of them are as young as 6 years old, where they leave, when they walk from school to the nearest center, they'll learn basic keyboard skills using our donated devices. Honour this year donated over 600,000 worth of devices to 3 different NPOs, KZN, in Gauteng, and in Mpumalanga. The NGOs then go out and teach coding and robotics to young people. This has been a great experience for us. We are planning to do more of this in 2025.
And as far as the programs are concerned, what standard programs do you have in your organization, or areas of interest do you invest in from your CSI fund?
So our CSI, we are very passionate about young people. As a young company ourselves, our focus is young people, unemployed, those living with disabilities, and just to make sure that we close the digital divide, make sure that they are also part of the digital age that we are in. So 2024 was a focus on that area. We really want to see young people thrive in the industry, in tech, with the Chinese obviously being leaders in the tech world. We understand that there's a lot that we can impart on them. And also the NGOs are the ones that let us know what are the gaps in the societies, especially in the township areas, that are required and what kind of skills is required. And we support financially with resources to the NGOs so that they can teach those skills.
Similarly, South African companies can leverage Chinese capital and expertise to expand their operations globally and tap into new markets. South Africa and China can thrive in an interconnected world by forming strong partnerships, overcoming economic uncertainties, and leveraging globalization's benefits. Maintaining this relationship, building trust, and looking for new opportunities for collaborations are vital for both nations. We believe SACITA's initiatives will continue to foster this partnership by looking at fresh investment opportunities. In 2023, Chinese businesses revealed plans to invest up to 15 billion rands at South Africa's 5th investment conference. In that same year, we witnessed the signing of significant purchase agreements totaling $2.2 billion with companies in both nations. Therefore, our positive trade relations continue to be crucial in combating unemployment, inequality, and poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote the interests of the developing countries and change global governance institutions, we must also keep up our close collaboration and mutual consultation on global issues within the framework of the United Nations, the G20, BRICS, and Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC.
Madam, let's talk about the impact of the program from the lens of international relations in South Africa, in as far as our ambitions are concerned, from multidimensional perspectives, bilateral trade, but also consolidating relations between South Africa and China.
Well, the relationship between South Africa and China is very strong. At a bilateral level, as the Deputy President mentioned during his speech, he cited the number of high-level visits that have taken place just over the past couple of years. For example, this year in September, the President was in China, and on the margins of FOCAC, he had a state visit. Last year, you may recall that on the margins of the BRICS Summit, President Xi Jinping paid a state visit to South Africa. And the Deputy President himself went to China last November, where he co-chaired a binational commission, which is the highest structured bilateral mechanism we have with China. So relations are very deep, relations are very strong politically. What really matters to the people of South Africa, though, is what economic benefits these relations yield. And I think those can be found in the areas of priority for us. And one of the biggest pushes we are after in this relationship is economic diplomacy. Our relations are very, very strong. So when we come to an event like this and we see what Chinese companies who are invested in South Africa are doing to uplift the communities where they are invested, it really shows that this relationship is strong and genuine.
Mama, you made mention of the aspect of people being more interested on the economic value that can be derived from these, whether it's trade agreements or bilateral relations between any country in the world, for that matter. Do you think that where you are seated, we have done enough as the media to kind of communicate or showcase the impact of these investors just beyond the boardroom?
As with many things in life, you can always do more. We do enjoy a level of media attention, I think, in our work on the international stage. But of course, we can always do more because people always need to know, people need to be kept updated. For example, one of the biggest benefits that came out of the state visit came from the agricultural sphere, where 3 protocols were signed, and those were covering areas which are of absolute importance to us. One was the reopening of the Chinese market to beef exports from South Africa, and we are told by people in that sector that that business is roaring. A second one is an opportunity in dairy. The Chinese market is huge, and the South African products are of a quality that would do very well in that market. There's also space for small players. For example, in the Eastern Cape, a number of farmers, especially who do sheep farming, export wool. Although some of the wool is of the highest quality and of course gets very good prices, some is not of such a high quality and it's actually called greasy wool. And the Chinese market takes this greasy wool from these farmers. So the impact of this relationship can be felt all the way down to grassroots level.
Let's talk about the aspect of youth empowerment and especially entrepreneurs in South Africa in as far as doing trade between South Africa and China. What are your ambitions as the department? What are you wanting to facilitate or achieve in that perspective?
Well, there's a very strong focus on the youth. As you are aware, we have a very young minister, and our second deputy minister is also a very young person. So they've brought energy and they've brought a renewed focus on the youth. For example, on the margins of FOCAC and the state visit, there was a business forum. Although a lot of businesses are multinationals and are very big, we also found some young people who are doing business in China represented. 2 weeks ago, there was an expo on supply chains, and again, there was a delegation. Just at this event, I met a young lady who was telling us about the level of support that their business is receiving, with a lot of guidance and assistance from our ambassador in China, Ambassador Dr. Siabonga Cwele. So if young people are out there, they have products, they have services, they have ideas, they should make their way forward so that they can be assisted. In government, there's the Department of Small Businesses. You also have the DTIC and its agencies. And of course, on the Chinese side, you have organizations like this one, that whose work we are celebrating today. So I think the important thing is for young people to raise their hands, step forward. The opportunities are there for those who dare.
Asian communities here in South Africa, and it's delivering the needful impact that private entities of Chinese or the People's Republic of China are here to not only take profits, as they say, but they're also here to embrace the practice of social impact in rural and indigenous communities across South Africa. So stay tuned to Love Well Set until the next exciting episode of Beyond the Ballots. God bless you.
That I will faithfully and diligently discharge my duties and perform my functions in the high office.